Now that we've set up our intro, we're going to incorporate our clips that we've already filmed. But I want to actually use my clips on a stock media background. So you can see back in my stock media section where I've searched for news, I've got a variety of different kind of news backgrounds that I can use. Now I'm looking for a particular background like this where I can incorporate a second video inside. If you've managed to shoot yourself as the news anchor on a green screen, then this kind of background works really, really well. If not, any of the news backgrounds will be okay. I'm going to start with this one here. In fact, I think everyone can use this one here, or one that's similar to this with the green square in. So we can incorporate your second video inside. Whether you've shot on a green screen or not, that's fine. So choose one of the backgrounds that have the green squares inside. So you can see we've got this one here, and we've got this one here. So pick from one of those two. It looks like they're the ones that we can use for the moment. So I'm going to pick this one here, and I'm going to drag and drop that inside my video 2. Video 2, you're going to drag and drop that one. Okay, so now you can see when I play, I've got a clip of the world's turning, and I've got the green screen over here. Okay, or the green square over here. Next, I'm going to go back into my media, and this is where I'm going to incorporate my clips. Okay, so I'm going to start with my news anchor. Now, I want my news anchor to kind of sit just here, or even just there. So I'm going to pop this on top of the video 2 layer. So I click plus, and it'll open up a new video layer, and then I can drop my news anchor on top. Okay, and now you'll notice that, like we've said last week with layers, anything in the top layer will cover the other layers underneath. So the solution to that is to, use that chroma key background and remove the color, or resize your frame. So I'll show you both ways. So to start with, I'll show you resizing your frame. So I select my frame, and then I use the scale option to resize, and then I can place it wherever I like on my stand. Okay, so that would be your first option. So if you didn't manage to be able to do that on a green screen, then you can use the resize option. If you manage to have it on a green background or a similar background, okay, then you can use that chroma key removal element. So click on here and take the green away. Okay, so now you can see I'm sitting on that kind of background. All right. Okay, so now you can see I'm in there.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. To start with this evening, we are covering a story at the Cartier's Menos residence where a shoe is missing.
Okay, so a few things I need to fix. First, you can see my background has run out before I'm able to cut my talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this video in video 2. So I select, I'm going to copy it by pressing Control C, and I'm just going to move my playhead to somewhere where there's grey and press Control V, and that should paste it in. Okay, so now I have it appearing again. I just want to make sure there's no gaps. Beautiful. All right, secondly,
is missing. We're going to cross live to Helen on scene at the Cartier's Menos residence. Helen, can you explain to us what's happened here?
Okay, so that's sort of where I want to cut for the moment. So I'm going to cut it about there. Okay, and then what I want to happen as well is I want to continue on with the background. So I'm going to just keep copying and pasting that background in. And once I've copied it once, I can just repeatedly Control V to paste it in the space. Okay, so now I have enough of that background to cover the entire clip. So back to editing this section.
Is missing. We're going to cross live to Helen on scene at the Cartier's Menos residence. Helen, can you explain to us what's happened here?
Okay, so what I want to happen here is if I watch the rest of this clip where I've cut, you can see my news anchor is sort of nodding and listening, and that's kind of my filler piece.
Wow.
So I want to
Sounds
kind of
dramatic.
keep that in there just for the moment, but I may be editing it bits and pieces out. In fact, what I might do is I might grab probably till about there and have that just as a continuous filler piece. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my news anchor to stay on the screen for the duration of the news event. Okay, so there's my filler piece, and then I can just kind of keep going. All right, before I finish editing the anchor's filler piece, I want to make sure there are no gaps. So that means parts on screen where we don't see the character of the news anchor on there. All right, next. In this video one layer, I'm going to import this video here of the news reporter on site. Okay, so I'm just going to drag and drop that in video 2. Okay, and I'm just going to sort of place it in the right spot. At about there. Okay.
Good evening.
So I want to place it where my news anchor crosses to the news reporter on site.
At the Cartier's Menos residence, where a shoe is missing. We're going to cross live
So I'm getting there.
to Helen on scene at the Cartier's Menos residence. Helen, can you explain to us what's happened here?
Okay, so from about there, 3306, that's really where I want Helen to appear. Okay, next. As you can see, we can't really see Helen at the moment because these 2 videos are covering her. Okay, remember their layers are on top of her. So I need to remove this green background and position the Helen in this frame. Okay, so there's a few things that I'm going to do here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click back on these images, and I'm going to use that chroma key element again and remove that square. And so I'll do it to all of the frames. So again, click to select and remove. And now you can see when I removed it, you can actually see the corner of this video. So we're just going to make sure all our chroma key frames are removed. So again, select the frame, chroma key, and remember I get to that chroma key with the person in front of the square. Okay. So now my chroma key is all removed. What I need to do is from about here, I need to resize this video so it fits entirely in this TV screen. So I'm going to select the video and I'm going to go back into the transform menu and use the scale tool to resize and then move. So resize and move and just kind of get it in the right position. I might even need to move my Helen, my news anchor. So it could be that she just might need to move slightly over. Again, using this move tool, I can just sort of move her slightly over there. Okay, so now that all my Helens are moved and positioned in the right position, I can play with this second video.
Yes, Thank you, Helen. I'm here in the Cartiers Menos' yard, and there is desperate scenes here as the family is frantically looking everywhere for the lost shoe. As he mentioned earlier,
now you can see I've lost my Helen there, so I'm going to have to add more filler bits because remember this Helen is still talking, so the other Helen needs to be sitting on screen and listening to her talk.
Earlier, the shoe was lost at some point during the morning. It was thrown out of the window.
Okay, so once I have it all set up, the last thing I need to do is add my outro, but also fix this part here. So you can see that my news reporter introduces the story and it's just a green screen there. So what I want to do is first I want to remove that green background. And then I want to just add in some of that stock footage into the space before my on the site news reporter appears. Okay, so that it's the screen is constantly being used. So I'm going to go back into my stock media, and you can see I'm back in my news space. So I'm going to pick just like a nice standard that kind of background that might work in really well there. And again, I'm going to resize it using the scale tool and just move it into the right spot. And so that basically that clip will now just play in that section until my on the site news reporter appears. I might need to just trim and fit it. So when I insert the second clip, just make sure it trims to fit so it fits that particular point, and then just rescale and move again to the right place.
Is missing. We're going to cross live to Helen on scene at the Cartiers Menos residence.
And you'll see now there should be a smooth transition to my news reporter on site. So again, just for the end part, I'll do the same thing, the same stock news background, so it sits in the same spot. And then finally, I'll just trim my excess to fit. So you can see I need to add a bit more here. And I need to add a bit more here. And then you can see my clips all end about there. So I'll just cut everything at that point and delete the excess bit. And then using that stock footage that I used at the beginning, I can add that as my outro. So it was, I think it was this one. And this thing. And that's how I make my news footage. I'd love to see what you come up with. Make sure you finish and export when you're done. So now that I'm happy, I'm just going to name it News 1. finish. I'm going to HD. Make sure you select the Google Drive symbol so it goes onto your Google Drive, and then export. And that's how you make your newsreel. Can't wait to see what you come up with.